The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome to another project here on Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, well, we're learning more about the new Veterans Manor in Green Bay. So let's get started with our construction manager, Mark Klon. Oh, this structure is looking beautiful. Really coming along nicely, almost fast-tracked, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's great. I mean, we're on schedule, we're on budget. Everything is working really well with this building.
Now, we're up in Green Bay. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
This is called Green Bay Veterans Manor Apartments. This is housing for homeless veterans that are a big need in Brown County.
Yeah, and not only in Brown County, throughout our nation. I mean, to me, it's a great example of what we're trying to do. I mean, these people go off to war. I think it's our obligation as a society to help them get back on their feet, and housing like this is really needed.
Oh, I agree, Stu. It's very, very important that we try to put housing in for veterans. I think it's great that we're doing it for them.
Now, how many units are in a facility like this?
There's 50 units that we have here. There are 50 unit, one-bedroom units in here. They're roughly about 520 square feet, and they're scattered from the ground floor where the parking is all the way up to the fourth floor in this building.
And it's not only housing, but you're actually helping to put some of these veterans to work to help build this structure, right?
We are. We have a mix of union and non-union workers in here, but the big thing that's important to this property is we've been putting unemployed veterans to work in the area, so we've been hiring them as they come up. And it's not an easy practice, but we have been doing it.
But you've been able to find some around?
Yes, we're doing job fairs, working with Center for Veterans Issues up here. We found them, and actually they're great workers. They're already in the trades looking for work, and we're putting them back to work. And even the ones that are not skilled, we're teaching them on the job on how to work in the trades.
Well, that's an awesome story. I'm anxious to learn out more. Can we take a little tour and see some of the construction going on?
Let's go take a look, Stu. All right, so you see as we come in through the main entrance, this is the main lobby coming into the building. So we've come through the main entrance, and this is where the main lobby is, first floor.
This is going to be nice. I like the curvilinear pattern up there. It's going to be very inviting to anybody, the residents and visitors alike. Now, when you're designing a structure like this, especially when you're talking about veteran housing, are there a lot of challenges?
Oh, there is. It's a long process. I mean, even before we know we're going to even start this, we're working 6 to 8 months before we even do anything just on design. What size we need to make the building to make sure it's going to work within our budget. How many parking spaces. There's so many things involved with this. What size the units are going to be. We've done this in the past, so we know what veteran housing should be. We've done so many of these. We know what's comfortable for the vets and what size units they need and what kind of amenities they need in the building. So we know from our past how we need to design this. But it goes even further. You're designing the heating, the cooling. You're designing everything on here. Which ones are ADA, which ones are not.
I suppose all the levels, you want to be ADA compliant. You don't know what issues people are dealing with when they're moving in here, so you got to be aware of that.
You're right, and all of them are. All of them have the clearances for ADA. They all have to be either Type A or Type B type of units. Type A means fully accessible units, which we have 2 in, which is a requirement. 5% of the units have to be ADA compliant. The rest of them are all Type B, so they're very, very well designed as far as clearance. Your bathrooms are bigger. All your doors are 36-inch doors. You have clearances throughout the whole building. The corridors, we make sure they're wide enough for the two-way corridors on there. All the doors, all the fire doors, all the openers you put in, that's all thought about when we're doing the design on here.
Sure, just out of curiosity, what type of heating and cooling are you doing in here?
Well, it's boiler radiant heat all the way through. It's master meter. metered, so the property pays for the heat on there. The tenants have their chance of putting their own cooling through air conditioning sleeves, which are high rated, so we always try to save on energy as much as we can.
And again, like with all your projects, operating cost really comes into play. You want to make them as energy efficient as possible for everybody who's living here.
All the way through, Stu, from the insulation to the windows to the heating and cooling design. You have to make sure that you have it there so it's not high bills on the property and we can make the property work.
Sure. Now, you said this is the main entryway. What's over in front of us over here? It looks like a big gathering area.
It is. A lot of the amenities we have for the vets, knowing that they need them, is they need an area where they can meet and they have a group. So we have a nice sized community space for them with a warming kitchen, so if they do something, they can serve some food in there. We also have a business center, which we supply computers for them, so it's internet, printer will be in there. We also have a fitness center, which will have equipment in there for them to use that whenever they need to. There's an elevator, of course, which is important for accessibility.
Sure. Mobility probably really comes into play.
Oh, correct. And then you're talking from the garage all the way to the 4th floor in here, they have that elevator. And the building is also very secured. You can't get through that door into any one of these units unless you have a fob or a reader. You cannot get past this. So anybody coming in that's led through that first door can't get any further than right here unless they're led in by somebody else. So it's definitely secured from anybody coming into the building. We have the laundry rooms. You have 2 offices too that you have in here, which is also for a site manager and any kind of support team you want.
Sure, and you know, as I look around, just looking at the construction techniques, you're worried about sound deadening. I see the insulation up here and the floor trusses, and then also fireproofing.
You're right, Stu. You can see the soundproofing we put into this with the insulation in the ceilings. Everything is sprinkled in the building. So there's a lot of things that keep the building safe and designed really well for veterans.
Oh, a lot of activity going on here. There must be a lot of coordination amongst the trades when you're building something like this.
Oh, there is. And it starts way back, Stu. It starts back with coordination meeting, just where everybody knows where they're going to be. You're talking about sprinklers, plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys, all have to know where their product's going to be and where they're going to be so they don't hit the other ones. So there's a lot of clearance that you're talking about here.
And these projects are really fast-tracked. I mean, you have a strict deadline to get this done.
They're always fast-tracked because there's always a limit of what time we have to get these built. This one, we're probably going to have 9 months and we'll have this building up and going. Hopefully by the end of the May, this property's done, and by June, we have tenants moving in already. No later than July 1st, we will have tenants in this building.
Oh, and this must be one of the units here. First thing I notice is that sound deadening really works. It really muffles everything.
Isn't that terrific? I mean, that's what it's there for, and you can see it does its job.
And not only see that, but I like the fact that there's no drywall on the walls. We can see some of the elements that go in. Everything red regarding fire?
Everything red is regarding fire. So you're talking about the alarms, and you're seeing all the red caulk, which is all fire stop caulk, so that has to be in place too.
And you said this is a fire alarm in
That's a fire alarm in a unit. So all the units are connected to the building fire alarm. So it's not only sound, it's also light. So they have to have that. That's a code. So when the building alarm goes on, you're not just hearing it from the corridor, you're hearing it in your unit.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see it. So any place that it's visible, you got to be able to see alarm. Kitchen, living room, bedroom.
Okay, that makes sense. And then all the other elements that go in here, all the color-coded wiring and all the outlets at a certain height.
Yep. You have all the right wiring in. It's usually color-coded for lighting or receptacles or switches. It's all different. You'll see some different wiring in here, switches Cat 5, which is going to be for your telephone and for your coax TV. You're also going to see some smaller voltage, which is going to be for your intercom. Sure. But everything is equipped in here. So at the beginning of this, when we look at the design, we figure out where everything has to be and what we're going to put in every bedroom, living room, kitchen. Everything has to be laid out, not only by code, but what we think is going to work better for the person living here.
And again, when you make a point like that, that's family oriented. You might look at a structure this size and say it's 51 bedroom units, but to me, it's more like a house with 50 bedrooms in there. You're creating a community.
That's a great way to say it, Stu. You're correct. It is a lot of people that know each other and will help each other and love the fact that they have their own apartment with their fellow servicemen. So they're all going to help each other. And you'll see the other things we have in here too. We have steel frame doors. We use a lot of durability products in here. In the bathroom, you're going to see a lot of things like more blocking than normal, because we know in the future some of these guys might need more ways to get around that bathroom. What's more accessible? We make sure it's all high toilets, easy in and out of all the showers in there. So everything is thought of before we do this. We've done enough housing in the past, especially for veterans, that we know what we're doing on here.
Oh, up here on the 3rd floor, I really like the architectural detail, that curvilinear pattern. It's so inviting.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's great that they have this in here. It's a little bit different than we normally do, but a great attention thing that the architect put into this particular lounge lobby area right here, for them to have a place to sit down, enjoy what's going on here. I mean, you're going to see acoustical ceiling put in here, but you'll still see this nice architectural design here and there, and they have this nice big lobby with furniture that they can just sit in.
You know, a lot of forethought went into the design here, and that's what I'm picking up on. Is at first I thought veteran housing. It's probably going to be pretty sterile, might be more like a hospital setting. It's anything but that. It's really creating a community home feel here, someplace comfortable to live.
You're right, Stu. I mean, we look at a lot of things like that. Not only the architecture features that add a little bit more aesthetic design to it, but where the lights are, where the windows are. All that is important. What kind of lighting? How does the lighting look? That's all brought into this because we want them to have a nice, beautiful place to live in.
And in the background, I see the elevator, and whether it's this project for veteran housing or seniors or any of the projects that you guys do, that is of paramount importance.
The elevator is very important. The building is designed around the elevator. Where's it's going to go, how many stops it's going to go, which way you're coming in and out of that elevator. That's all designed around that elevator.
And you know, so many of us take our mobility for granted. We have our legs. We're fortunate to be able to move around at will. A lot of these veterans, it's so unfortunate. You don't know what they're going to be dealing with when they come back here, and you have to, again, have the foresight to incorporate their needs.
Correct. It's important for them. If they're in a scooter, if they're in a wheelchair, they need this to get up and down to the building and in and out. That's their access to get in and out of this building.
Well, it's awesome to see the behind the scenes before it's up and running. A building like this, is the community excited about it?
Oh, it's been terrific. I mean, the city of Green Bay, Brown County, the Veterans Association, Center for Veterans Issues, all are so excited about this and 100% behind this. They can't wait till it's completed.
And when is it going to be completed?
I would guess in a couple more months. A few more months, we will be done with this, too. It's moving quick. I mean, you can see how far we are already now with the paint and the finishes on the walls, the sound matting going down on the floor. Gypcrete's coming tomorrow. The finishes have already been selected, so a couple of days after Gypcrete gets poured, you're going to start seeing flooring going in these units.
Awesome. Well, I'll catch up with you at that time. Maybe we can do a walkthrough of the end result.
That would be great.
Welcome back to Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith. Now let's continue with General Robert Cocroft from the Center for Veterans Issues. Well, General, it's an honor to have you on our program. And, you know, we're just up at the new Veterans Manor in Green Bay. It's under construction. What a marvelous facility. I was really impressed with the design, the construction techniques. But now we're down here at the Veterans Manor in Milwaukee. And let's begin by having you explain a little bit about the role of this in the community.
Well, Veterans Manor is a way of providing affordable housing for our nation's veterans. It began with the concept that, first of all, no veteran should be left behind and no veteran should be homeless. But once you have brought a veteran into a housing condition and stabilized and dealt with their many needs, then they need permanent housing. And that became obvious to us, you know, when we first started to shelter homeless veterans. And so this was our effort to provide a place for a veteran to live permanently and provide case management to overcome any barriers that he or she may run into down the road.
Do you find that there's a huge need for housing like this out there? Are there that many veterans that are in need of this type of assistance?
Well, just to give you a short statistic, this facility here opened on Memorial Day 2011. And ever since we opened, we've had a waiting list for veterans to get in. That waiting list has ranged anywhere from 80 veterans to 36 veterans. So that appears to indicate that there's a strong demand for this type of housing.
And we mentioned it's in Green Bay, it's in Milwaukee. Are these the only two so far in our state?
That are veteran specific. There are some other types of veteran-related housing dealing with transition from homelessness into permanent supportive housing. But the only two facilities in the state of Wisconsin that were designed specifically for veterans are this one and the one in Green Bay that will be opening next month.
Well, hopefully we can get the word out there and get more of them, because let's face it, I mean, veterans are from every point in every community, from the villages to the big cities, and they provide such a great service and made so many sacrifices for us to enjoy our freedom.
That's correct. Less than 1% of all Americans now serve in the military, and to the extent you consider liberty and freedom as a good, then there's a debt to those who made that sacrifice, and to ensure that they are properly housed and have housing is a way of paying back part of that debt. I would also like to mention that the facility here in the one in Green Bay primarily are being financed by low-income housing tax credits, but that's only part of the funding stream that's needed to construct these types of facilities. This facility here and the one in Green Bay also enjoyed considerable donations from the private sector and organizations, and that is their way of paying back and ensuring that our veterans are not left behind.
Sure, and these buildings like the Veterans Manor here or in Green Bay really raise the quality of the entire neighborhood within the community.
By all indications, what we hear from the community and what we've heard from community leaders, this facility has had a positive impact on this neighborhood. The veterans who live here pretty well self-police, and they make sure that that element, stays away from the neighborhood. So it's been very positive for the community.
Do you find that the veterans that live in these facilities enjoy being part of this community and living together with other veterans?
It depends on the era that the veterans serve, more so among the Vietnam veterans whose average age now is 68. But we found that the camaraderie that they experienced during the military, culture, they still seek at this point in their lives. And the design of this building included some of those features, a lot of common areas, community room, that they really use quite a bit as far as coming together and just spending time with fellow veterans. So that whole camaraderie concept is alive and well at Veterans Manor.
Sure, to me it seems camaraderie, it's almost like a family.
It's a family.
And you want to be there with your brothers, your sisters, be there and reminisce or just be there for support.
And the indicator that it's working is the turnovers are very, very low. Once they come, they don't leave unless something dramatic happens in their life.
Sure. And as I've learned, it's much more than just housing. There's also employment opportunities and trying to help get them back into the communities, enjoying and working on things they like to do. You have what's called the Troop Cafe here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Troop Cafe is a concept that serves multiple purposes. Not only is it a place to eat here in this community that was sparse on those types of facilities, it's a training program. So veterans who are seeking employment can enter into the Troop Cafe training program anywhere between 6 and 12 months. But once they have completed the training, then they become certified and they can be hired in the food service industry.
Well, what a great example of what you're doing to help our veterans. And again, we all owe them so much. This just scratches the surface in my opinion. But I tell you, let's keep it going. Let's try to get more of these facilities built around our state and throughout the nation for that matter. I appreciate you coming on and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Well, Mark, one of the big reasons I love doing shows with you is we get to see the magnificent transformation of these structures. And this one was newly constructed up here at the Major General Jacob Brown Veterans Manor here in Green Bay, and it's looking great.
It looks terrific, Stu. Everything came in really good on this project, right on schedule, right on budget, and we were able to get it done quickly and very attractively built for the vets.
Yeah, and you say on schedule. I was amazed at the timeline. It was what, about a year?
We had less than a year. We actually had 10 months to finish this project. We were trying to get it done in a certain amount of time so they can have a good presentation and we can get the vets in here as quick as they can, because there is a need for this kind of housing.
And you know, before we go inside and look at the end result on the inside, I wanted to touch on the community you've really succeeded in creating around here with the Veterans Manor here in Green Bay, close to other veterans facilities.
You're right, Stu. It's like a village inside of the village. So they have their own little spot in Green Bay. Nice, secluded, safe area that they are still in the city, but they have their own place that they can live with and be with their other fellow vets.
Well, it's a wonderful facility. And as I look at it, it looks like it's going to be long-lasting like all your facilities throughout here because you selected those long-lasting products.
Very long-lasting. We are very careful about that. We want this building to last so they don't have to put any maintenance back in this building for years and years to come. You're talking 35, 40 years before anything's going to show up on this building. So it's heavier duty roof shingles on there. We have composite windows in there. We have fiber cement siding on there. We have a lot of stone on here. These are all products that are made to last a long time for the benefit of the property and the owners that are going to own the property.
So not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but functionally speaking, there should be no concern on the longevity of the outside of the structure. Let's head inside and take a look at some of the features you've built into it.
All right, let's take a look, Stu.
Looks like the guys are hard at work doing the finishing touches, putting in some flooring.
Yep, that's always the last thing. So once we get done with everything else, Stu, we clean the floor, we seal the floor, we come back and put all the new flooring down.
And you know what I notice here is the warm feeling you get, and I think it's partly to do to the colors you selected, but also the curvilinear pattern. And before we talked about how important it was to create a warm, friendly environment for the occupants.
Yeah, this is one of their main sections of the building where they can get together and talk about different things that are going on. It's a meeting place for them. So in this section right here, when you come in right off the main door, you have a nice size elevator lobby for them to actually communicate with. Everything is there for them. Their mailbox here is going to be down here every day. We have a fitness center here. We have a computer lab here. We have a nice community space for them to have meetings in, have dinner in. There's a kitchen in there. And there's also the two offices here. We'll also have concessions here. You have laundry on every floor. So this is their main area. Every floor, besides this floor, does have an area like this that they can all get together and communicate.
And I'd venture to say that because you're giving them a warm, inviting home, they're going to be more likely to succeed within the greater community.
Well, they will, because they got security, and they know they got a nice place they can come back to. They're going to be happy that they're living here, proud that they're living here. So that's what we're striving for, and that's hopefully what we're going to be able to do here.
Well, how are the apartments coming along? Are they almost done?
Yeah, let's go take a look at one, Stu.
Hey, Mark, let's poke our heads in here, and oh, this is almost done. This is looking nice.
Yeah, this is a unit on the first floor that just about completes, Stu. It has to come back for the cleaning now. We got the cleaning crews coming through for the post-cleaning, but this unit is officially counted as being complete except for cleaning.
Now, how large is it?
It's roughly about 500 square feet, which is perfect size for a single-person veteran living here.
Sure, and you know, as I look around, it's nothing extravagant, yet it's very homey in here. I love the cabinetry you selected.
Right. We don't go to extravagant. We want something durable but attractive, and that's what we try to do. If you have plastic laminate tops, we have stainless steel sinks. We have very heavy-duty drawers, all dovetail joints, all solid wood. We want something durable. High-end Energy Star appliances are in here. Solid core doors, so they can take a little bit more wear on there. Metal framed doors. There's no wood frame, it's all metal frames. LVT luxury vinyl flooring on here. Durable, long wear, easy to repair. Vinyl base. You see this all the way through. Every apartment has this. So it's built to last a long time, and so there's no maintenance costs on here. And for the owner in the future, they don't have to go back and put a lot of money back in this. So we're very careful on how we design these and the materials and products that we use for construction.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate you coming on today's show and sharing with us the importance of affordable veterans housing here at the new Veterans Manor in Green Bay.
It has been our pleasure, Stu.
We're very excited about the Green Bay Veterans Project. It is within walking distance of the new VA medical facility that is being created in Brown County. It is within a mile of UW Green Bay, which is one of the finest schools in the state for providing education for vets. It is at the entrance to a new industrial park that Brown County will create, which ultimately will provide job opportunities for these vets. And it is on an 8-acre piece of ground, of which 5 acres will be really quite beautiful. There will be counselors on the site. There will be people able to work with them every day. It's a tremendous need in our state for this kind of housing, and we think the 50 folks that end up there will really find their housing situation to be more than they ever expected that they could receive.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.